the Awakened and Aligned podcast. My name is Shannon Kaiser, and it is an honor to be here with you today. I'm glad that we have time together to connect, to go deeper into our own lives, and to really see how we can be better than before from a place of authenticity, a place of integrity for self, and really aligning to our values. That's really what all of what I do as an empowerment coach, as a trauma-informed coach, as a book author, all the things that I do. It comes back to living with more meaning, more joy, and more authenticity. So today's topic is really important because I'm starting to see a theme. Right now, if you're watching this live, we are in Mercury retrograde. This is a timeless video, though. You can watch it at any time and listen to the podcast at any time because it really does come back down to relationships matter, and relationships are important because they are the key to everything we do in life, right? We learn through relationships, whether it's a romantic relationship, a co-working situation, a familiar family situation, neighbors, best friends, all the people. When you're relating to another person, it always comes back down to relationships. And relationships are important because not only do they teach us more about ourselves, but they help us relate to others. And so one of the principles that my mentor, Dr. Peebles and Summer Bacon, use is to increase communication with respect and understand that everyone is doing the best they can from where they are operating from. And so today's video is about connecting inward to yourself to see if your relationships feel good. Do your relationships feel meaningful? Do they feel reciprocal? Do they feel joyful and uplifting? And do you feel supported? And is that something you want in your relationships? Because you want to create a dynamic that is empowering for you. And sometimes we get into situations, especially if you're here watching my channel and you found this video and you've been part of Play with the World for a while, then chances are you have a huge heart and you overgive, or you have a people-pleasing tendency, or you genuinely want to make other people's lives better. So what happens is we often will find ourselves in situations with people who takers. And this experience really comes back down to there's two ways to see the world. There is, I am going to give because I genuinely want to help. It feels good, makes me feel good. I like to help people I love. And then there are people who give to get. And this also comes back down to there are givers and there are takers. And so when we're giving from a place of how does it make me look in society, or what can I get, and we see people from a lens of opportunity, we often will get into experiences where everybody becomes an opportunity or means to get ahead. And this is really what I consider and what I've recognized as transactional relationships. That's the topic today. Are you in a transactional relationship? And is that something you want? And are you being transactional? I know for me, this is something that I don't want. And sometimes I have seen that it's easy to fall into this in relationships, especially if you've grown up with a dynamic of transactional relationships. So think about your childhood and how you grew up. Did your parents or caretakers or people that raised you kind of keep score? Or was it very much a dynamic of one person had a role and the other person had another, and they didn't really cross boundaries? Did the partnership that was demonstrated to you, did it even feel like a partnership? Did it feel like there was more of a kind of agreement that I do this and you do that? And they came together, perhaps not from a collaboration, but maybe even a competitive standpoint. Did your parents have like a tit for tat kind of, I bought this last time, you owe me this? Or maybe you felt like a burden growing up because your needs weren't able to be met, in a sense that your parents or caretakers were always looking at it as a transaction. Well, what's in it for me if I show up for you? And this is all unspoken, but sometimes this shows up with, we grow up and not realizing that we've been trained to be transactional. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In the business sense, in the business world, a lot of times people will approach the relationships with, what can I get? How can I see this person as an opportunity? It, for me, does not work in the relationship, romantic relationships, personal relationships, dynamic, or even when you're relating to someone. Even in relationships with business, it's important to see the humanity. So I'm coming at this from a place today where we're going to talk about relationships that are transactional versus relationships that are relational, and relationships that are actually transformational. And which end of the spectrum do you want to be on? Transformational relationships are about reciprocity from a place of giving because it feels good. They are in a place of partnership, a place of I get to support you, you get to support me. It feels good. We're growing together. We are one unit. Whereas a transactional relationship is very much grounded in I will give so I can get. What's in it for me? It is more self-serving, and it also can be collaborative if it's a healthier dynamic of a transactional relationship where you're working together to meet a goal. You know, it does come back down to intention, though. If it's a self-serving practice and you're in a relationship where someone is being self-serving and you're giving from a place of your heart, then this often will lead to heartbreak, or it will lead to a dynamic where you're feeling frustrated and resentful because you feel used. You really feel used. So it's important to set up a dynamic in the beginning of how you want to be in the world. And chances are, if you're here today, then you are wanting to have healthy relationships from a place of true reciprocity that connect inward to your heart. So, as Simon Sinek said, it's finite versus infinite, basically, this kind of tangible thing, because not only do transactional relationships, if one person is approaching a relationship with what can I get from this, or do this for me so I can get this, then it does become very one-sided if you're not on the same page. So look at your intentions in your relationship. And today we're going to see, are you in a transactional relationship? And, it's important because, as Simon Sinek does say, some people can only see other people as opportunities. Some people only see relationships as a way to get their needs met or means to get ahead. And I started to find myself involved in a lot of transactional relationships, and I didn't look at it as transactional. I looked at it as something doesn't feel right. I'm feeling very used. I'm feeling like they only want to spend time with me when it benefits them. They only want to show up for me in the friendship, the relationship, the family situation when there's something they're going to get. And I started to put in boundaries. I started to say, you know what? I see that my needs are important. And I also see that I want to call in relationships that are healthy and grounded in a dynamic of pure joy. So from this place, you can create your life with more meaning and joy in the relationships. So one of the things to recognize if you're in a transactional relationship is the relationship will be centered around self-service, whereas something is thinking about what they can get. I have a lot of the times people approach me in my life where there is an energy of what can I get? I had a friend one time who offered to share something with me as long as I posted it on social media. And that didn't feel very good. It didn't feel good because I felt like that person was sharing something with me, because at first I was like, thank you for sharing this. This is such a great gift. And then as they handed it over, they said, the only thing I ask is that you post it and share and tag this company. That didn't feel good at all because it was very transactional. And no fault to the people who do this if that is how they see the world, because they've been trained to, right? It gets passed down from our parents. The point here of what I'm talking about is, do you want to have more meaning and joy in your connections? And are you being transactional? To just be aware of that, because there's a humanity that is missing. There's an opportunity for us to come together with other human beings to connect. And I feel like one of the main problems in the world right now is that we're all looking for what's in it for us. That not all, but we're all showing up in a place of greed, a place of control, a place of power, and that is ego. My whole channel, my whole mission, and my whole connection here with you and connecting today is to bring us back into our heart, to bring us back into a space of, I want to connect with other people because I genuinely care. I genuinely want to show up for people. So if your relationships feel like they are maybe self-serving, or somebody is trying to get something from you, it could be a transactional relationship. And, it also really, transactional relationships have low emotional investment. Perhaps you don't really have an emotional connection or consistency with that person. It's more of a dynamic of, I do this for you, you do this for me, I get this. And you can tell by how people show up for you. So really look at your relationships and look at what you want to call in. Do you want healthier dynamics? Do you want to feel like you are in a reciprocal relationship, not one of pure benefit of how I can get ahead in life, but of joy, of connection, of a real, just genuine showing up for people from a heart space? And then you start to create that in your world. You start to set boundaries with people who you feel are taking more or demanding more or needing more from you. And you say, hey, let's recalibrate. Let's refocus this dynamic. And those who only can see relationships as transactional will move away. Maybe they won't be in your life, or you don't want to be used anyways. So let them move away. Continue to honor yourself, because what this all comes back down to is self-respect. People who are showing up in the world trying to use other people to get ahead from a transactional space, there's not a lot of self-value there or self-respect, because they're always trying to get. They're always in a very focused state of hyper vigilance of, I need to get someone else to help me meet my needs. But the truth is, we can meet our own needs. And so unhook from that if that feels expansive for you, and come back to you. And quite honestly, invest in yourself, show up for you, meet your needs, and really invest in the relationship with yourself. When you start to fill your love tank, you no longer need other people to get ahead. You no longer need other people to kind of go farther in life. So today's message is all about reciprocity and love for yourself first, and then showing up in relationships that feel more expansive from a place of, I care, I value you as a person, and I see you as a human being. And therefore, I'm going to act in integrity with myself and not use you to get ahead. I'm not going to take steps to walk all over you or to try to manipulate this relationship. Instead, I'm going to be me, and I'm going to let you be you. And we get to come together and explore life together. That is my wish for everyone, that we allow ourselves to drop the pressure, to drop the facade, to drop the mask, and just show up with more authenticity and truth. I hope this message resonates and you find value in it today. And I'd love to hear in the comments if you find yourself in transactional relationships, and if that feels good for you. And if it doesn't, then what steps are you going to take? What boundary are you going to put in place? How can you start showing up for you? Thanks for showing up for you today for this message. I'm sending you lots of love, and go play with the world.